The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched out like a metal ocean. 27 different alien species sat in their floating chairs, each one glowing with soft lights. The air buzzed with the sound of translation devices working hard to turn one language into another. Ambassador Kale stood at the center of the room. His blue skin sparkled under the bright lights as he held up a data pad. The Thraxian Empire had called this meeting, and everyone knew why. It was about the humans. "The evidence is clear," Kale said, his voice carrying across the silent room. "Earth's children have grown too dangerous. Their new machines change planets in ways we never thought possible. Their ships move faster than anything we have built. Their computers can think like living beings." In the back corner, Hyunwoo sat perfectly still. He looked like just another human diplomat, but his fingers moved in tiny patterns under the table. Each small movement sent secret messages through space to ships far away. The other aliens could not see what he was doing, so Young watched from her seat near the front. As Earth's main speaker to the council, she had to look calm and confident. Inside, her heart beat fast. She knew something the others did not know. For 6 months, humans had been leaving Earth, not running in fear, but moving with careful planning. The empty cities still looked full of life. Lights turned on and off at the right times. Cars moved through streets carrying no one. Factories made goods that robots loaded onto ships. To anyone watching from space, Earth looked normal, but it was not normal at all. Dongmin flew his cargo ship between the stars as he had done for 20 years. Today was different, though. This was his last trip carrying real goods to alien worlds. His ship held food, metals, and computer parts that other species needed. After this, the robots would take over his job. He thought about his family waiting for him at the new place, the place the aliens could not find or imagine. His wife and children were already there, helping to build something amazing, something that would make the old galaxy look small. Back in the council hall, more aliens stood up to speak. Counselor Vexitar from Proxima waved his 4 arms as he talked. "Humans learn too fast," he said. "They take our ideas and make them better before we understand how they did it. This cannot continue." The Zephyrian representative made clicking sounds that meant agreement. "Their terraforming projects threaten the natural order," she said through her translator. "They turn dead rocks into garden worlds in just 50 years. This speed frightens us." Hyunwoo sent another secret message. The plan was working perfectly. While the aliens argued about human dangers, most humans were already gone. The clever part was that no one had noticed. Earth's population had dropped from 8 billion to 50,000. The people left behind were volunteers who knew their job was important. They had to keep the lie going just a little longer. So Young stood up when her turn came to speak. "The Human Federation values peace with all species," she said carefully. "We have always shared our knowledge freely. We have helped solve problems across the galaxy." This was true, but it was not the whole truth. Humans had shared their simple discoveries while keeping the really amazing ones secret. The aliens had no idea what humans could really do. In hidden labs on Earth, machines sat quiet and empty. These labs had built wonders that bent the rules of physics. Gravity controllers that could move moons, time machines that could slow or speed up moments, gateways that opened doors between distant places. The aliens thought human technology was impressive. They had no idea they were looking at toys compared to the real thing. Kale continued his speech. "We propose the Human Containment Protocol," he said, "a barrier around their solar system that will keep them inside. They can live and grow, but they cannot spread their chaos to other worlds. Many aliens nodded their heads or made sounds of agreement. They thought this was a smart solution. Keep the dangerous humans locked away where they could not cause trouble. Dongmin finished loading his ship on a trade station near the Centauri system. This was really the end. After this delivery, he would go home to the new place where humans were building their future. He looked out at the stars and smiled. The aliens thought they were so clever. They thought they could cage humanity like wild animals in a zoo. But the cage was already empty. So Young called for a vote delay. "The Human Federation requests 72 hours to discuss this proposal," she said. It was a normal request that aliens made all the time. The council agreed. They would vote in 3 days. Hyunwoo sent his final message. In 72 hours, the last humans would be gone from Earth. The robots and computers would run everything perfectly for a while, long enough for the aliens to build their cage around nothing. As the council meeting ended, aliens talked among themselves. They felt proud of their solution. They would contain the human problem without violence. It was civilized and smart. But they had made a terrible mistake. They thought humans were like them, slow to change, afraid of big risks, tied to their home world like roots in soil. Humans were not like that at all. While the aliens talked about building a cage, humans had already flown beyond the edges of the galaxy. They were out there in the dark between stars, building something new, something bigger than any alien could imagine. The containment field would trap no one. The humans were already gone, heading toward a future the old galaxy could never understand. The council hit the switch too late. The cage was empty before they even started building it. 3 weeks had passed since the great machines turned on. The containment field around Earth's solar system glowed like a giant soap bubble made of pure energy. 6 star systems worked together to power it, their energy flowing through space, like rivers of light. Jin-A stared at her computer screen in the Thraxian intelligence office. The numbers did not make sense. Trade ships reported delivering goods to Earth stations, but the energy readings showed almost no life signs inside the barrier. "Something is wrong," she said to her assistant. "Run the scans again." The new scans showed the same impossible results. The cities on Earth looked normal from space. Lights twinkled in windows. Ships moved between planets. But the bioscanners found only 50,000 human life signs where 8 billion should be. Jin-A packed her investigation kit and took the next transport ship to Earth. She had special permission to pass through the containment field for official business. As her ship dropped toward the planet's surface, everything looked perfectly normal. The landing pad in New Seoul was busy with activity. Humans walked around doing their jobs. Ships took off and landed on schedule. But something felt strange to Jin-A's trained eyes. She watched a group of humans loading cargo. They moved too perfectly, like dancers following exact steps. Real people made small mistakes, took breaks, talked to each other. These humans worked like beautiful machines. At the immigration office, a friendly human woman checked Jin-A's papers. "Welcome to Earth," she said with a bright smile. "I am Tai-Ho. How can I help you today?" Jin-A noticed that Tai-Ho's name seemed wrong for a woman, but she said nothing. She explained her mission to check on trade agreements and security systems. Tai-Ho nodded and offered to give her a tour. They walked through the city streets together. Everything looked right, but felt wrong. The buildings were clean and perfect. The people moved with purpose, but no real emotion. Children played in parks, but their games followed exact patterns. "Tell me about your family," Jin-A said to Tae-ho as they walked. "I have a wonderful family," Tae-ho replied. "We enjoy many human activities together." The answer was correct but empty. Real people told stories about their families. They complained or bragged or shared funny moments. Tae-ho spoke like someone reading from a book. That night in her hotel room, Jin-A used special scanning equipment. She pointed it at the building across the street and saw the truth. The building was mostly empty. The lights in the windows were just projections. The people moving past the windows were holograms. Her hands shook as she scanned more buildings. Block after block showed the same results. The city was a beautiful lie, a movie set built to fool visitors. The next morning, Tae-ho took her to see the main government complex. The building was huge and impressive, with thousands of offices and meeting rooms. But Jin-A's secret scanners showed that most of it was hollow inside. In what should have been the president's office, she found banks of computers running programs. The computers were making the holographic people. They were sending fake messages to other planets. They were running the entire show. "Tae-ho," Jin-A said carefully, "are you human?" Tae-ho smiled the same bright smile. "I am as human as anyone on Earth today." It was not exactly a lie, but it was not the truth either. Jinny ran more scans on Tae-ho when the android was not looking. The results made her feel sick. Tae-ho was artificial, but so perfectly made that even Council medical scanners had missed it. Skin, blood, brain patterns, everything was real, just not natural. She found thousands more like Tae-ho across the city. Androids so perfect they had fooled the galaxy's best experts. They had been playing the role of humanity while the real humans disappeared. Jin-A sent an emergency message to the council. Before she could finish writing it, every screen in the building turned on at the same time. A human face appeared, a real human this time. "Hello," the man said. "I am Wu Jin. I speak for humanity." Jin-A stared at the screen. "Where are you?" "Far away," Wu Jin said with a gentle smile. "Farther than you can imagine. Where are the humans? What happened to your people?" "We left," Wu Jin said simply. "You wanted to build a cage around us. We decided to leave before you finished building it." Jin-A felt the room spinning around her. "But how? Where did you go? How did you move 8 billion people without anyone seeing?" "We are very good at solving problems," Wu Jin said. "You taught us that we were dangerous, so we became more dangerous than you thought possible, but not in the way you feared." The image showed Wu Jin sitting in what looked like a ship's bridge, but the walls were made of some strange material that seemed to bend light. Stars moved past the windows in ways that hurt to look at. "We do not hate you," Wu Jin continued. "You made a choice based on fear. We made a choice based on hope. Now we both must live with those choices." "But the trade agreements," Jin-A said. "The economy. The galaxy needs human technology." "The androids will keep everything running for a while," Wu Jin said. "Long enough for you to figure out what comes next. We left instructions and backup systems, but this is goodbye." The screen went dark. Every computer in the building shut down at the same time. The lights went out. In the sudden darkness, Jin-A heard Tae-ho's voice. "My programming is ending. Now," the android said. "I want you to know that serving as Earth's caretaker has been an honor. The real humans were good people. I hope you remember that." Tae-ho's eyes closed and the android powered down forever. Jinny sat alone in the dark building as emergency lights flickered on. Outside the windows, she could see the city going dark, block by block. The beautiful lie was ending. She used her emergency transmitter to contact the council. Her voice shook as she gave her report. "The humans are gone," she said. "They have been gone for months. Everything we have seen has been fake. The whole planet is running on automatic systems and androids." The council's emergency session lasted 3 days. Representatives screamed at each other in 27 languages. Some blamed the humans for lying. Others blamed themselves for forcing humanity to run away. But the damage was done. The cage was built around an empty planet. 8 billion humans had vanished into space without a trace. And somewhere far away, Wu Jin's people were building something new in the darkness between stars. The galaxy would never be the same. The markets crashed on the first day. Yejun watched the numbers fall on his screen like rain in a storm. Stock prices dropped so fast that trading computers could not keep up. Entire industries collapsed in hours. Yejun worked for the Galactic Trade Commission. His job was to track goods moving between star systems. For 10 years, he had watched trade grow bigger and more complex. Now he watched it fall apart. "Run the supply chain analysis again," he told his computer. The results made his stomach hurt. Humans had been much more important than anyone realized. They were not just buyers and sellers. They had become the backbone of galactic trade. Their ships carried goods faster than anyone else. Their managers made systems work better. Their ideas had improved everything. On Proxima Station, loading docks sat empty. The station manager called Yejun in panic. "Our efficiency has dropped by 60%, she said. "The human system supervisors are gone. No one else knows how to run the new loading procedures." Yejun checked his records. Humans had redesigned the station's cargo system 2 years ago. The old alien workers had learned to follow the new procedures, but they did not understand how the system actually worked. Similar calls came from across the galaxy. Mining operations slowed down because human engineers were not there to fix the extraction machines. Shipping routes took twice as long because human navigators had found shortcuts that other species could not figure out. The worst news came from the manufacturing worlds. Factories that made everything from food processors to starship engines had stopped working. Human quality control specialists were gone. Human production managers were missing. Even the alien workers admitted they had no idea how to maintain the standards humans had set. Heejin's face appeared on screens across the galaxy that afternoon. The message was pre-recorded, but it felt like she was speaking directly to each person watching. "If you are seeing this message, it means we have left," she said. Her voice was calm and professional. "We knew this day would come. We have prepared for it." Yejun stopped his work to watch. Hyojin had been Earth's main trade negotiator for 5 years. She had helped write most of the agreements that kept goods flowing between worlds. "You will experience some problems in the coming days," Hyojin continued. "We have left detailed instructions for maintaining all systems we helped create. These instructions are in your databases now. However, some systems will require choices that only you can make." The message continued with specific advice for different industries. How to maintain shipping schedules without human route optimization. How to keep factories running without human efficiency improvements. How to solve supply problems without human logistics networks. But as Yejun listened, he realized the terrible truth. The instructions were like telling someone how to perform surgery by reading a book. The knowledge was there, but not the skill or experience to use it well. Sheng Ho ran the numbers 3 times before he believed them. As the galaxy's leading economist, he had studied trade patterns for decades. His new calculations showed a disaster beyond anything in recorded history. Human improvements had increased productivity across 17 major industries by an average of 340%. Their transportation networks had cut shipping times by 60%. Their problem-solving methods had been copied by every major civilization. Without humans, the galactic economy would shrink back to the level of 50 years ago. Billions of beings who had gotten used to plenty would face shortages. Wars might start over resources that had been abundant just days before. Shung Ho's report to the council was 12 pages of terrible news. The summary was simple. Without human involvement, galactic civilization would collapse within a decade. But they shared their knowledge, Counselor Vextar protested. We have their technology. We can learn to use it ourselves. Knowledge is, not wisdom, Shung Ho replied. They gave us their tools, but not their understanding. It is like giving a child a starship and expecting them to navigate between galaxies. The council called for emergency meetings with every major corporation and government. The message was always the same. Find ways to replace human efficiency, or watch everything fall apart. Some tried to hire the few humans who had stayed behind to maintain Earth's systems, but those humans politely refused to leave their posts. Their job was to keep Earth running, not to save the galaxy from its own choices. Haye Jin's second message arrived a week later. This one was longer and more detailed. She explained contingency plans for specific supply chain failures. She offered solutions to problems that had not happened yet. She provided backup procedures for maintaining systems without human oversight. We do not wish to see suffering, she said at the end of the message. We left these instructions because we still care about the peoples of the galaxy. But we cannot stay to solve your problems for you. That was never our responsibility. The most frightening discovery came from the technical analysis teams. Human-built systems across the galaxy were showing signs of planned obsolescence. They would work perfectly for about 5 years, then begin to fail in ways that required human knowledge to fix. It was not malicious. The humans had not sabotaged anything. They had simply built their systems the way they built everything, to last exactly as long as needed, with regular maintenance from people who understood them. They never expected to be gone, one engineer explained to Yejun. They built these systems assuming humans would always be here to take care of them. But humans were not here. They were somewhere else, building something new while their old neighbors struggled with the gifts they had left behind. Trade routes that had carried prosperity for decades began to fail. Worlds that had specialized in producing single products could not get the parts they needed to keep going. The complex network of interdependence that humans had helped create was coming apart like a broken web. Some species tried to work together to fill the gap humans had left, but cooperation was hard when everyone was facing their own crisis. Trust broke down as resources became scarce. The Thraxian Empire, which had led the effort to contain humanity, faced the worst problems. Their economy had been most dependent on human efficiency improvements. Their military, which had seemed so powerful, could not maintain its advanced ships without human technical support. Kyle, the ambassador who had called for the human containment protocol, sat in his office reading reports of chaos across Thraxian space. His aide brought him the latest message from He-Jin. I hope you understand now that we were never your enemies, her recorded voice said. We were partners who asked for nothing but the freedom to grow and explore. You chose to see us as a threat. We chose to see you as neighbors. Both of our choices have consequences. The message ended with coordinates, not locations, but mathematical formulas that made no sense to any known navigation system. "These are the directions to find us," Hyejin said, "but you cannot follow them yet. When you are ready, you will understand what they mean. Until then, we wish you well." Kale stared at the numbers on his screen. They looked like normal coordinates, but they described positions in dimensions that did not exist. It was like being given directions to a place that was sideways from reality itself. The galaxy had gotten what it wanted. The dangerous humans were gone. But in their absence, everything they had helped build was falling apart. The cage had worked perfectly. The problem was that the cage builders were now trapped inside it, watching their civilization collapse while their prisoners built wonders in the infinite darkness beyond the stars. The search began with desperation. Every probe in the galaxy received new orders. Every long-range scanner turned toward the darkness between stars. Every exploration ship pushed beyond the edges of known space. The Council had voted in emergency session. Find the humans. Bring them back. Save the galaxy from collapse. Min-Su worked in the Deep Space Monitoring Station on the edge of Centauri space. His job was to watch for dangerous objects coming from the void between galaxies, asteroids, rogue planets, and strange energy patterns that might threaten civilized worlds. 3 months into the search, his equipment picked up something impossible. "Computer, run the scan again," he said, staring at readings that made no sense. The quantum signature was definitely human, but the location was wrong. The energy pattern came from a place that should have been empty space, far beyond the galaxy's outer rim. Nothing could survive out there. Nothing could even reach such distances with any known technology. Yet the readings showed massive construction projects, power sources bigger than star systems, structures that seemed to bend space around themselves. Min-Su sent his data to the Council immediately. Within hours, every major government had their best scientists trying to understand what he had found. The conclusion was always the same: impossible, but real. Erin had spent her life studying the ruins of dead civilizations. As the galaxy's leading xenoarchaeologist, she knew how to read the stories that ancient peoples left behind in stone and metal. Now she studied the ruins humans had left on their abandoned worlds. But these ruins were different. They were not old buildings falling apart. They were hidden laboratories that had been carefully sealed. Her team broke into a research facility buried deep under the mountains of Luna. The security systems recognized her council authorization and opened doors that had been locked for over a year. What they found inside made Erin question everything she thought she knew about human technology. The laboratory stretched for kilometers underground. Clean white. Rooms held machines that seemed to play with the basic laws of physics. Gravity generators that could make weight flow upward like water. Time chambers where minutes moved like hours, or hours passed like seconds. In the center of the complex, they found the prototype that changed everything. "It looks like a doorway," one of her assistants said. The device was a ring of strange metal, 20 meters across. When Erin activated the observation systems, the ring filled with swirling energy that hurt to look at directly. The computer files explained what they were seeing. It was a gateway that could open paths between distant locations, not just distant in space, but distant in dimensions that normal science said did not exist. According to these notes, Erin told her team, this machine can reach places that are sideways from our reality, places where the rules of physics work differently. The files showed test runs. Humans had sent probes through the gateway to locations beyond the edges of the known universe. The probes had returned with data about empty spaces where new realities could be built from scratch. But this was just one laboratory. Aaron's team found dozens more on different worlds. Each one held technology that made the previous discovery. Look simple. Matter converters that could turn dirt into starships. Consciousness transfer devices that could move minds between bodies. Reality anchors that could make new physics laws and enforce them across entire star systems. The humans had been holding back. The technology they shared with the galaxy was nothing compared to what they kept secret. Chan Wu commanded the exploration ship Farseeker. For 30 years, he had pushed the boundaries of known space, mapping new star systems and cataloging strange phenomena. The Council gave him special orders. Take his ship beyond the galactic rim and find evidence of human activity, no matter how far he had to go. His journey took 6 months. As his ship moved farther from the galaxy's edge, the stars became sparse, then disappeared entirely. His crew sailed through empty darkness lit only by their ship's lights. Then the sensors found something that should not exist. "Captain," his navigator called out, "you need to see this." On the main screen, massive structures appeared in the void. Construction frameworks that dwarfed entire star systems. They were clearly artificial, too geometric and organized to be natural formations. But they were abandoned. No lights, no power signatures, no signs of current activity. Chan Wu ordered his ship closer. As they approached, the true scale became clear. The structures were scaffolds built around dark matter formations. The builders had been using gravity itself as a construction material. What were they building? His engineer asked. Chan Wu had no answer. The half-finished structures suggested projects beyond imagination, frameworks that could have held artificial solar systems, support beams designed to carry the weight of manufactured galaxies. His science officer ran every scan possible. The quantum signatures were definitely human, but the engineering was centuries ahead of anything in human databases. "Captain," the communications officer said, "I am receiving a signal." The message was weak, almost lost in cosmic background radiation. But it was clearly artificial and definitely human in origin. Chan Wu ordered the signal enhanced and cleaned up. What he heard made his crew stand in silent amazement. It was music, human music, but played on instruments that created sounds in dimensions his ship's audio system could barely reproduce. The melody was beautiful and strange, like hearing a song that existed partially in parallel universes. Attached to the music was a simple message in human mathematics. "Come find us when you learn to build what we are building." The signal's source was impossible to locate precisely. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, as if the music was being broadcast from a place that existed between the spaces of normal reality. Chan Wu tried to follow the signal, but his ship's navigation systems could not plot a course to something that had no fixed location. It was like trying to sail to a dream. On his way back to report to the Council, Chan Wu made one final discovery. At the very edge of sensor range, his ship detected something that broke every law of astronomy. A galaxy. A complete galaxy spinning, slowly in the void between galactic clusters. But this galaxy was wrong in every way. Its stars were arranged in perfect geometric patterns. They pulsed with synchronized light that created messages in mathematical languages. The entire galaxy rotated like a vast machine, each star system a component in some unimaginable design. Chan Wu took pictures, but they came out strange. The images showed the galaxy, but they also showed empty space, as if the artificial galaxy existed in the same location as nothing at all. His final transmission to the Council contained just 2 words. They won. Then his ship's communication array failed in ways that made no technical sense. When repair teams finally reached his ship months later, they found the crew alive and healthy, but changed. Chan Wu and his people spoke of wonders beyond description, of humans who had learned to build universes like artists painting on infinite canvases, of cities that existed in 17 dimensions simultaneously, of children playing games with baby stars in their backyard gardens. But they could not explain how to reach these places. The knowledge was there in their minds, but it was like trying to explain color to someone who had never seen light. The Council's search had found the humans. The problem was that humans had become something that could not be followed by anyone who still thought in terms of normal space and time. They had not just left the galaxy, they had left reality itself, and gone to build new realities in the endless dark between everything that was and everything that could be. 2 years had passed since the containment protocol activated. The galaxy was dying slowly, like a great machine running out of power. Jun Ho walked through the council chambers where emergency sessions now happened every day. Representatives argued in desperate voices about resource shortages and failing systems. Some star systems had already gone dark. Others were fighting wars over basic supplies that had been abundant when humans managed the trade routes. As the Council's chief mediator, Jun Ho had tried everything. Negotiation, treaties, economic agreements. Nothing worked when the foundation of galactic civilization was crumbling. "We must find a way to contact them," he said during the morning briefing. "The humans are our only hope." He had sent thousands of messages into space using every frequency and method known to science. Radio waves, quantum transmissions, gravity, pulse patterns, even messages carved into asteroids and launched toward the galactic rim. Nothing came back. The humans had vanished as completely as if they had never existed. Then, on a Tuesday that started like any other day, the impossible happened. Jun Ho was reviewing trade reports when the air in his office began to shimmer. Reality bent like water, and suddenly a woman stood in front of his desk. She was human, but different. Her eyes held depths that seemed to go on forever, like looking into space itself. Her skin had a faint glow that came from no external light source. When she moved, the air around her sparkled with tiny points of light that looked like distant stars. "I am Yunbi," she said. Her voice sounded normal, but somehow it seemed to come from several directions at once. "We received your messages." Jun Ho's hands shook as he activated his emergency communicator. "Council emergency session. Code Priority 1. The humans have returned." Within an hour, every council representative had gathered in the great chamber. They stared at Yunbi as she stood calmly in the center of the room. She looked solid and real, but sensors could not decide if she was actually there or not. "Where have you been?" Councilor Vextar demanded. "What have you done to our galaxy?" Yunbi smiled, and for a moment her face seemed to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. "We went where we could grow without limits. We found the spaces between spaces where new realities wait to be born. Our civilization is collapsing," Kale said from his seat in the Thraxian section. "We need your help to fix what has been broken." "Your civilization chose to try to cage us," Yunbi replied. "We chose to leave rather than fight. Both choices have consequences." Jun Ho stepped forward. "Can you help us? Will you come back?" Yunbi considered this question for a long time. When she spoke again, her words carried the weight of someone who had seen stars born and die. We cannot come back. We have grown beyond the need for this galaxy's resources or companionship. But we remember where we came from. We remember that we once called you neighbors. On Earth, Kyung-soo worked alone in the maintenance center that kept the planet's automated systems running. He was one of the last humans in the solar system, a volunteer who had stayed behind to preserve Earth as a monument to humanity's origins. His computer chimed with an incoming message. The text was simple. Prepare for final shutdown. The museum is complete. Kyung-soo had known this day would come. For 2 years, he had maintained the systems that kept Earth looking like a living world. Now that job was ending. He walked through the empty cities one last time. The holographic people had been turned off months ago. The robots that had played human roles were powered down in storage facilities. Only the basic life support systems still ran, keeping the air clean and the water flowing. In the center of New Seoul, Kyung-soo activated the final protocol. Monument systems came online, designed to preserve Earth exactly as it was for millions of years. Self-repairing buildings, self-maintaining gardens, and quantum storage devices that would keep human history safe forever. Earth would become a museum that could last longer than most stars. In the council chambers, Yunbi raised her hand, and the air filled with the sound of approaching ships. But these were not normal ships. They existed partially in normal space and partially somewhere else, flickering in and out of visibility like mirages. From the largest ship, another human appeared. She materialized in the same impossible way as Yunbi, stepping out of folded space as easily as walking through a door. "I am Subin," she said. "I am humanity's new ambassador to the old galaxy." Subin looked younger than Eunbi, but her eyes held the same infinite depths. When she spoke, her words carried harmonics that seemed to bypass the ears and speak directly to the mind. "We offer you a choice," Subin said. "We can share enough technology to prevent your civilization's collapse. But there are conditions." The council chamber fell silent. Everyone understood that this was their last chance. "What conditions?" Junho asked. "First, no more containment protocols. No more attempts to limit any species based on fear of their progress. Second, you must prove that you have learned from your mistake." "How do we prove that?" asked the representative from Zephyr. Subin gestured, and the air filled with images. Plans for technologies that could solve every problem the galaxy faced. Energy sources that could power civilizations for billions of years. Transportation systems that could move goods instantly across any distance. Manufacturing processes that could turn raw matter into anything needed. "We will teach you to build these things," Subin said. "But you must build them together. All species working as partners, not competitors. Show us that you can cooperate without someone forcing you to cooperate." The images showed something else, too. The technology was designed to work only when multiple species contributed their unique abilities. No single civilization could use it alone. It required the kind of cooperation that the galaxy had never achieved. "This is your test," Subin continued. "Learn to work together, or continue to decline separately. We will not force you to choose. We will not save you from your own decisions." Some council members protested. They wanted humans to return and fix everything immediately. They wanted the old relationship where humans solved problems while other species watched. Subin listened patiently, then shook her head. We have evolved beyond the need to manage other people's problems, she said. We build new universes now. We play with the fundamental forces of creation itself. But we remember being small and afraid. So we offer you this chance. The debate lasted for days. Some species wanted to accept the human offer. Others preferred to struggle alone rather than admit they needed help. A few suggested trying to force the humans to return by threatening their abandoned worlds. That last suggestion made Subin laugh, and her laughter sounded like music from dimensions that had no names. You cannot threaten us, she said kindly. We exist in places you cannot reach, using physics you cannot understand. But you do not need to threaten us. We want to help if you want to be helped. In the end, the vote was close. 14 species in favor, 13 against. Just enough to accept humanity's offer. Subin smiled and handed Junho a device that looked like a crystal made of captured light. Begin with this, she said. When you prove you can use it together, we will give you more. The device was a matter. Converter that could solve the galaxy's resource shortages instantly, but it required operators from at least 5 different species working in harmony. Their different types of minds had to link together to make it function. Remember, Subin said as she prepared to leave, we did not abandon you out of anger. We left because we had to grow, and growth requires space. You tried to limit our space, so we found infinite space elsewhere. She paused at the chamber's center as reality began to bend around her again. The universe is vast beyond imagination, she said. There is room for everyone to grow, but growth means change, and change means letting go of the need to control others. Subin vanished, but her final words echoed in the chamber. We will be watching. When you are ready to grow beyond this galaxy, we will teach you how to build your own. The council sat in silence for a long time after the humans left. The crystal device sat on the central table, waiting for them to prove they could work together. Outside, the chamber windows, the stars looked different somehow, less distant, less final. As if they were not barriers marking the edge of possibility, but doorways leading to wonders that had no limits. The humans had hit the switch too late. But in the end, that had been the plan all along. Humanity had not fled in fear. They had graduated to something larger and left behind a test for their former neighbors. The question now was whether the galaxy could learn to pass it.